Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 8 of Rustic Waters. Thanks to your tips in the previous episodes, I've now made a crafting box. What that does is adds this crafting interface to our access terminal here in Easy Storage. However, there are a few nasty-ish bugs with it. Let's see. Namely, if I take a stack of stone here, right? So I have 563 stone, and I try to craft stone bricks here. If I take one at a time, it, like, yeah, it gives me 4 stone bricks, but it consumes all. So 599. It wait, did it put them back? That time it put them back, but it doesn't always put them back. Like sometimes it doesn't put the X's back and it just voids everything. I think the first time that's definitely what it did. I don't know. So anyways, it does something weird when you put multiple items in here. So I found it's okay as long as you only have a single copy of an item in your crafting thing here, right? Like here, it won't break anything. It, pulls new sand in as needed. But if I were instead to do this, I have 41 pieces of sand. It did put the extras back. Maybe I'm crazy. Hold on, let me review the footage. Well, upon reviewing the footage, it seems everything behaves exactly as it's supposed to, and I am 100% crazy. There is a slightly different problem, though. It's only a display problem, but you see how I have 611 bricks here? If I do this again, and I shift-click, I expect it to craft the whole stack, right? Well, it crafts one, and then it appears to duplicate the rest of the stone, except if I click it again, the items are actually gone. Wait, I have more stone than I started with now. Didn't I start with 615? Okay, it was just a display problem. There we go. So, yeah, it's it's like a little weird to use this crafting table, but maybe I'll get used to it. In any event, I guess it's better than moving table or moving items to a crafting bench to craft, right? So, with that out of the way, let's see. Let's plan on doing some progression today. So yesterday was all about exploration. Today, I think will be all about progression. What I really want to get to is near the bottom here for the other expansion, but also because in so doing we unlock like all the embers bits, and I think at some point here is the here it is, the Ember Quarry, which is our first, well, one of our first automation, resource collection automation systems. We have this system here, right, which generates ores, but it's not like fully automated. So I would like to get the Ember one, which I think is fully automated. See, I have 2/3 of this room left open. Let's put our Ember stuff in there. So to get us started, we need a Ember Activator. That doesn't look too bad. Yeah. The purpose of the Ember refinery is to take the Ember items, I should grab some of those, and turn them into these Ember shards, and turn them into energy, or like a type of energy, Ember energy. The Ember Activator is like the basic tier. The Pressure Refinery, I believe, is the higher tier one. So I'll just go straight to the Pressure Refinery. There's not a quest for it, but it produces, I think, around 2 to 3 times more Ember per shard. Anyways, it's also a bit more complicated to set up because it has to be placed on top of a copper block, and that copper block needs to be surrounded by lava. So let's see. You know what? Let me put this somewhere where I can surround it by lava more easily. Let's make a really quick trip to the nether to actually grab that lava. We only need I think 4 buckets, maybe 8 buckets, so I'm not even going to bother changing into my warm armor. And we just have to put the lava in all the slots around here. I use these Caminite slabs. I hope they don't burn. I don't expect they will. Should be fine. I should have used full blocks so I can't accidentally just walk into this lava. I'm gonna change that in just a second. Alright, that'll do. This way I can access the lava if I need to, but I can also, I won't walk into it on accident, which I'm sure I would have done sooner or later. Anyways, this thing also needs to be fed the Ember item, so that there, we'll just throw this in here. Standing near the lava is hot for perhaps rather obvious reasons, so I guess I can't stand near it for all too long. And lastly, it needs to be fed with water. So let me set up another one of these water pumps, much like what I have here. And, with that, instead of pumping water to fill buckets, I'll use that water to run our pressure refinery. So I snagged a few fluid conduits while out exploring. The pump dumps water into the tank. We extract from the tank, send it into the pressure refiner, and you can see it's working. It's turning these items, which are actually in its internal inventory, and it's turning them into Ember. So let's continue down the quest. It'll have us make like emitters and receivers and stuff, and eventually we can put this Ember to use. Man, just crafting these emitters and receivers is like microcrafting hell. It's like, okay, to make caminite plates, should be simple enough, right? You need a smelting step, a blacksmith workshop step, a chemist workshop step, purified water. The clay is most easily made by breaking this in a trader's workshop. So you have to go to like 7 different UIs to make a plate, just to make, and that's just one component of this. I don't know. I'm growing to progressively hate this workshop mod, but I'll stick with it a little bit longer, I think. Anyways, you can put an Ember dial here to see how much Ember is in the machine, and it's basically full. Cool. So let's see. We want an emitter on this as well. And the emitter needs a redstone signal to work. Why they don't default to on, I will never understand, and it's a little too hot here. All right, so that will send Ember, and we need to send it somewhere. For now, let's send it into a copper cell, which can hold the Ember. It's basically an Ember battery. I'm gonna dip in the water real quick to cool off. All right, that'll do. So the battery here also acts as a splitter. So Ember connections are all 1-to-1. One emitter connects to one receiver. So yeah, I'm gonna put it somewhat central in the room so it can act pretty effectively as a splitter. Those of you that have watched my Ozone series, gosh darn it, know what I think about Embers, but I think there's a lot of asinine features here. Here's one of them. To link a receiver to a emitter, you have to first shift right-click the receiver, get a ding, and then right-click the emitter, get a dong. If you don't have this redstone powered, there's actually nothing to tell you that you did it right. It's ding dong. If you go the wrong way, you go ding dong or dong ding. Nope, doesn't work. You gotta go ding dong, and then you have to power it with redstone. You also don't get a UI to tell you that anything's working unless you dedicate a face of the thing to a Ember dial. So yeah. Anyways, now that we have this copper cell here, it serves as our battery. I'm gonna put the dial on this side for now because I don't think we're gonna end up using that side as an emitter. Thankfully, this pack doesn't seem to use Ember for much besides as like this bit here as an Ember generator. The rest of the actual Ember mod features are largely not used. All right, so it wants us to make an Ember relay. Ember relays are functionally very similar to that copper cell, except they're not batteries. But hey, it wants it, I'll make it. It's an easy recipe too. The next quest, for some reason, wants us to make fluid tanks. I think these will be used later. They're not particularly good tanks at 16 buckets each and a pain to craft, but it does mention something about part of a multi-block, so sure. Fluid extractor, I think we've already made these. Aha. Alright, and then these are how we make reservoirs. Picking up a footprint of... Sure. You know what, I might actually... Well... You know what, let's keep going here to get to the key. We'll see where this ends up going. So anyways, a reservoir is just a royal pain to craft, alright? The last quest here, for some reason, asks for 30 steel scaffolding. I'm sure we'll use them. I guess it wants it for the fermenter. But the problem is this takes a lot of solder to make. No big deal, right? Except we can buy solder buckets. Except for the fact that the quest is still broken. So I think this is a bug in the questing mod. After you claim a repeatable quest, it gets stuck in this state. It should be stuck in, it should be waiting for you to pay again, right? So because of this, like if I relog, this gets fixed. However, relogging per bucket of solder is actually probably still faster than making it in the grindstone. If I like grind down all of these ingots, I can make like 4 buckets of solder or something. Something absolutely terrible. So I think what I'm just going to do is I'm going to delete 50 gil. So that's right there, 5 gil per bucket, which is an awesome deal, by the way. Delete 50 gil and give myself 10 buckets of solder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. and 10. Ha! Alright, that completes our quest line here. I'm not going to bother setting up either the fermenter yet because I don't have like farming set up to feed it stuff. I'm also not going to set up the ring, this Caminite ring yet because I don't, what do I need a multi-thousand bucket tank for? I guess I could use it to hold creosote, but at the same time I can just enchant this portable tank with holding and it becomes a multi-thousand bucket tank. So which way do we go next? Let's expand this way. I probably have to break our alloy coin kiln to get there. Wow, cool. I'll move the kiln, I think, over into this corner here too. Cool. Now we have all this room to do whatever in, but I'll come up with a plan for what to do with that later. Now that we have the left side done, let's move on to the right side here and make our Ember Quarry. First thing, it wants a lot of modularium or modular machine blocks, so I'm going to just make a bunch of modularium so we can also satisfy this quest, because this wants a stack and a half. I think I've done it before, right? We have to make it by throwing a block of Constantine into... Yeah, so we throw a block of redstone into water and then a block of Constantine. Okay. The first step is to make, I think, the Ember Ore Factory. This says it's an upgrade to our sluicing system. Our sluicing system isn't manual, but the point is it's quicker and has more ores. Cool. And I think I took a look at its outputs. It also, for some reason, generates slime balls. But all right. Anyways, it takes like a meaningless amount of ember. I'm pretty sure this means it takes 1 ember, a tiny bit of water as opposed to a full bucket of water, and does the sluicing thing. Cool. So to build it, we need those blocks. Yeah, nothing there looks too bad, but I'll just follow the quest as this. I assume it just, I assume this is just walking us through building all the blocks. Alright, let's build out this ember thingamajigger. I want to put it such that I can share this water source, so I don't have to build another pump. Unfortunately, this, modular machines can generate an in-world preview, however, you still can't rotate them, so they're not very useful, because if it's the default orientation, actually I should check. Every now and then it is useful because the default orientation is right, but this time it isn't. It's backwards. You can see these lamps going like that T-shaped Tetris piece, but in the preview they're like the other way around. So yeah, I don't know. Rotate would be a great feature to get eventually, but I doubt it's ever coming based on how long it's not been here. Anyways, I'm just gonna build out this by looking at it. But yeah, the goal, there we go, was to put the fluid input as close to the tank as possible, which it looks like we've succeeded in. And there we go. Structure found, Ember Ore Factory. So this, let's see, I don't need to put the blueprint in there, but I may as well. Inputs are ember, water, and items, and outputs are, what you normally get when you run them through a sluice box. So I need a couple conduits and a way to run ember from that cell to that input. All right, to run ember, we have to go, I've already forgot the order. It's ding, ding, then dong. There we go. So you go receiver to emitter, and can't forget your levers, because why would I ever want my power generation to default to off? Anyways, that sends water is in this input, ember is in that input, presumably. It's being sent, so I assume it is. Maybe I can put an ember gauge on it to see. There we go. And lastly, I just need to put items in here and have some way to pull the results out of there. So let's go get just like a stack of sand or something to test it out. Whatever I have most of. Yeah, I have plenty of sand here. This whole thing is made of hot blocks, like these heat lamps and the lava there, so I can't stand around here too long without just standing in the water, which is kind of awkward. Anyways, it does seem to be running, and it does seem to run pretty darn quick. Cool. So I may as well store these outputs in a drawer system, I guess, because drawers are the best. So I'm gonna make a bunch more drawers to store all these ores in. Alright, all the potential outputs from sieving sand, what are the 3 types? I already forget. Sand, dirt, and gravel fit into these 6 drawers. There's basically 2 slots each, so without upgrades, I think it holds 4,000 of each. obviously with upgrades, then it goes up much higher than that. So all I have to do is, for now, this is still a manual step, but I have to run the, input from here up to there, and I'll do that later. Cool. So moving on, the Ember Quarry. I guess it's just the Ember Bore. Normally in embers, this is used to like dig up these ember shards, but I guess because we're getting them through other ways, you can change the loot table of the Ember Bore, and this gets you materials instead. So let's build it. Looks like it takes a fair bit of steel and some other stuff, but it shouldn't be that bad. I think you only need one. Another pretty annoying aspect of these workshops, while they do support, move items here, so take a look at this recipe. It only uses cutters, right? And here I have cutters and the solder in the tool slots. When I put it in, it takes the solder out. Like, why? Why do you do that, game? I understand you don't need it, but leave it there, because I don't want it in my inventory. I want it there for the next time I need it. In any event, this is the Ember Bore. Now, the Ember Bore doesn't just work if I place it here. It has to be placed near bedrock, and I don't know how near bedrock. I think it has to be directly on top of bedrock. There is an Ember book, but let's see. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it has to be either directly on top of bedrock or at least at a very low Y level. So first of all, let's get a treasure chest and see what's in there. Sure. But we do have to place this basically way deep down on the seafloor. I think it also takes some power in the form of furnace fuels, so we'll have to keep it supplied with fuel that way too. But that shouldn't be too difficult. All right, so for now, I'll just swim down and dig a place to put it. But later, we'll want to come up with a better transportation system than just swimming up and down. Since we're going to be digging underground, this calls for my favorite tool, the destruction gadget. There's two recipes to make it. The easy one makes it without energy, and the hard one makes it with energy. But since we have ways of generating energy, I figure we'll go with the easy recipe. I've also made a building gadget earlier too. But yeah, we just throw it in there, let it charge up, stash this for later, and that'll help us dig out an area underground where we can set up our Ember Bore. I also need a little bit of obsidian, and I remembered that it generates in these dungeons that I've cleared in reasonably small amounts, but small amounts are enough. I forgot to bring a hammer, so here I am mining it with a vanilla diamond pickaxe that doesn't have efficiency on it. It's taking forever. Good thing I only need like 6 pieces, so No, why did I do that? There goes a minute of my life. The obsidian is for ender tanks. I guess a ender tank. One of the quest rewards or something gave me an ender tank before, and because the steam dynamo here, well, it's also out of coal, but it needs water to run, so I figured I'll just supply it water with an ender tank. And I'll use triple blue for water because water is very blue. And I'll just basically replace this buffer tank here with this ender tank. So this one pump can do double duty. My plan is to dig a hole down to bedrock here, directly underneath our base. It's reasonably close to where I put my spawners, so I have to make sure, not to leave actual space for stuff to spawn, because that would potentially be unpleasant. But in this version of Minecraft, trapdoors don't get waterlogged, so a trapdoor, or a sign or whatever, can block water flow, but while letting you through, which is nifty. So once I'm down here, I think my plan is just to use the destruction gadget to dig myself a livable place. So bam, just like that. All right, that'll do. I'll clean this up a little bit. I think give myself a nice fresh clean wall to use, but that should be plenty of space here. Ooh, diamonds, for us to set up our Ember Quarry. Alright, I lit it up a little bit down here. It's not actually needed because we're on bedrock. Mobs can't spawn on bedrock, and I have night vision, although I perhaps won't always have night vision. Anyways, let's put this reasonably centralized. That looks like it'll do. Cool. And then you have to both put items into the bore through the center and take them out through the center. So actually the only way I know how to do that is with an item conduit. I suspect there's like another way to do it because I don't think oopsies, insert brown, extract blue. I don't think the ember items piping system itself can support this use case like this. And it has to be doable with default Ember, right? Like it wouldn't make sense otherwise. Anyways, this should be insert blue. Cool. So fuel goes in here. This thing starts doing its thing. And eventually resources should start popping up here, I expect. Let's see. Yeah, there's no like the use on the Ember board doesn't tell you what it gets, but it says it will a variety of ores and void static. Void static is useless and should be discarded. Oh look, coal ore. That's not particularly useful. But I'm gonna let it run a little while here and see what we get. I guess I'll make this a double chest so we have a bit more room. Eventually I'll come back here, set up a drawer system to hold the useful bits and to throw away the void static and whatever. But I suspect the point of this is it'll get us ores that we can't normally get through the through sifting sand and all that jazz. But it looks like it's slow. I wonder if I can acceleration wand it. Do I have one on me? Alright, bye. That. Oh, my fuel's gone. I think it has internal buffer of fuel though. Anyways, let me acceleration wand it a bit and see. I suspect I have to acceleration wand the central. Yeah, it seems to be working. So far, I haven't gotten anything special yet. I'm gonna accelerate it for a little bit and see what we get. I'm hoping we can get something like platinum or maybe glowstone, lapis, the kind of stuff we're not getting from our other sifter. Now, remember what I was just saying about being weird that you have to interact with like only one face of the thing? Apparently the Ember solution is to make a mechanical core. But I guess I'll have to do it to continue down the quest. Anyways, I've been accelerating a little bit. I've used up a fair bit of durability on here. And we've gotten one piece of iridium ore that, something we can't get from our normal quarry and or from our normal sifting. And I think that's it. Everything else we already have. So I'm somewhat under impressed by this. But I mean, the good news is it's more or less automated. All I have to do is feed it fuel, and I'm not quite sure what rate it goes through fuel at, but hopefully, a bit of coal lasted a long time. Besides that, though, I'm just gonna leave this here. It's underneath our base, so at least I'm pretty sure it is. Let's see, that's our base there. I'm pretty sure this is in one of our chunk loaded chunks, so I can just leave it here. It'll run, whether or not I'm online, and who knows, maybe it'll eventually produce something that I care for. I mean, iridium's rare. I just don't know if it's useful in this pack. I don't see a usefulness to it unless we need it. Yeah. Anyways, well, I guess we'll find out later, but I suspect it's not terribly useful. In any event, that's done, and I am disappointed. So I'll just continue to knock out quests here. Before we move on, there's actually one more thing I want to do, and that is set up a transportation system that makes it easier to get down here. So these are viaducts. They're basically player transport tubes. And I think, let's move it up one more block. Right click that to make it an entrance and name this, we'll name this Ember Quarry. Alright, so this is one end, and now I just need to run it all the way up and set up the other end. Alright, here's the end in our base. We can I think we want to name this end as well, so it can be two-way transport. Call it base. I think we can put a block here to like give it an icon, but whatever. Anyways, from here, if we click here, we like hop in the tube. Kind of trippy, but we run down the tube to the other end, and voila, we can go back up this way as well. On the other side, actually, I think I might run it all the way down to the Ember board itself instead of just to the surface of the water. So this will make it slightly easier to go up and down. We don't have to go swimming. There's no risk of being eaten by sharks in the process. Seems like a good thing to me. While I'm down here, let's see how this is doing. It appears to have stopped, which I think means it's run out of fuel. So for one sack of coal, we got these things. I'm thoroughly unimpressed. Oh well, I'm going to run it a little bit more. If it's really this depressing, I might just leave it be. In the event, now that we have this here, we can go up much more easily. and I can bring some more fuel down to run a bit longer. I'll probably give it like 10 stacks of fuel, and if, over the course of 10 stacks we don't get anything interesting, we might just leave it alone. Let's see, 10 stacks. And these viaducts don't necessarily have to be like only 2 endpoints. You can think of it kind of like a tunnel system where you can have, as many endpoints as you like. So you don't want to run them too long because I think they don't work terribly well through unloaded chunks. But yeah, like if I don't know, if there was something else pretty close by, like that village there, right? If I wanted to run viaducts to the village, that'd be reasonable. There's really no benefit to going to the village anymore, so I won't. But yeah, these are fun. They're not as useful as teleportation, but they're kind of cool. So I was kind of wondering what the rest of these quests here were for, and I think this picture here explains it pretty well. So let's hide JEI so we can actually read it. But right now I'm powering our Ember Bore with furnace fuels, and for the longest time I actually thought that was the only way to power it, but apparently it can be powered with mechanical power as well. So here's the way you set it up. Now the steam boiler is one way to produce mechanical power, but I think there's actually a multi-block. Let's see, one of these modular machine multi-blocks, I think the Ember Mechanic here, yeah, is a very simple multi-block that can generate mechanical power. So I think the quest is leading me towards building one of these to power our Ember Bore with, as opposed to furnace fuels. I need a bit of lava to make this nether furnace here, 4 buckets of it. And here's another trick you guys taught me in the comments. Really, you can pick up your sea moth, so I can take it with me when I enter the nether. That way I can like use my hearthstone to go back to my base and not leave my sea moth not have to leave my sea moth behind, which is nifty. And then when I'm back in my base, I can drop my sea moth off again. And it seems to keep its battery in it when I do that, which is convenient. Cool. So now that I have this lava, I can has to go in a trader's workshop. Jeez, this one's empty. Perfect. I can build that furnace, or not. Apparently, it has to be. It accepts any glass, but glass does not have glass as an our dictionary name. So it has to be either soul glass or heat glass, I guess. Because I need heat sand or soul sand. I think I have some soul sand, right? I have 2. Well, I guess time for another trip to the nether then. Ow, it's hot. Ow, it's hot. Ow, it's hot. But I did get my soul sand. Ow. So with all of our components in place for that mechanical system, let's see about building it to power our Ember Bore down here. Another thing I learned was that one of these quests mentioned it. Let's see. But anyways, the point is that apparently your Ember Bore is supposed to be a couple blocks above the bedrock. So there's like spinning blades under it, and I think I might have it too low, which might be impacting its performance. So anyways, let me let's see what we've gotten here. We've gotten some platinum. That's kind of useful. Diamond ore is kind of useful. What is monazite? Modular force fields. Ooh. Interesting. Alright, anyways, I'm going to rebuild this properly this time, and maybe it'll be more effective. Yeah, so these are the blades that are underneath it, I guess, that are supposed to like spin and do work. So maybe having them above the bedrock will make them faster? Who knows? For the longest time, I was trying to figure out how to hook up this thing to that thing. So the book says you shift right click a gearbox onto one of the mechanical outputs. I was going on this side, and I place this here, and then if you shift right click a gear on one face, it places it on the other face, and like it doesn't spin, right? I have no clue why it doesn't spin here. I even tried like placing it from this side and doing this. Oh, it spins now. That's awkward. Well, it works. Ignore me. I think what's happening is when you shift right click, it's actually the face opposite where you're facing that gets marked as the input. So when I placed it from here, it was marking, this face as the input, whereas I need the actual input to be the face facing the mechanical input. Anyways, you put another gear on the output face, and then you can run axles. Whoopsies. Put the gear, put the axle. It spins, it spins. That spins this, which I think is spinning the mechanical core. Is it spinning? No, it isn't. Now what am I doing wrong? Right, I think I need a gear here. No, it doesn't accept gears. Accepts gears there. But that's not spinning. That's what it is. I need a gear on the input face. So that spins, and this face I think is the output face, which has to face our mechanical core. Hey, would you look at that? Now our whole thing's spinning. I wonder if it hurts to walk into. Apparently not. Good to know. Anyways, now that this whole thing is running, we no longer have to supply it with coal. We just have to keep this thing supplied with lava. Now, I'll let you in on a hot tip. When this lava runs out, I'm 90% sure this thing's going to keep spinning. But that'll happen in a minute. For now, let's put the system back together by moving our output chest. Let's see, which one of these was the output chest? Moving our output chest back up to here. Where do I want to put it? We'll need an item conduit, chest, and the other chest. Alright. So now this is running. Once I configure this, extract. All our products will get put into here. It was running really fast for a second there because it was clearing out what was in its internal buffer, right? But now that that's been cleared, it seems to still be slow. Oh well. So we are now out of lava. This machine is like, well, we're out of lava. We're not running anymore, but this is still spinning. The thing is that this gearbox will actually only check whether or not it needs to change states when it receives a block update. And when the mechanical, when this output stops outputting, it doesn't give a block update. So if I put a block here, I think it'll stop it. Yeah. But the gist is, that means I really only need one bucket of lava to kickstart this process. Oh, it doesn't even give a block update when it starts. I see. So that'll start it. And anyways, as long as I never update this block again, I don't have to ever resupply this thing with lava. Cool. So now that this is running, I guess I don't have to fuel it anymore. You know, one of the complaints before was that the ratio of input coal to output wasn't very good, but now there is no input. As far as it faster, raise 2 blocks off the ground. Let's see, there's one piece. There's another piece. Yeah, it is definitely digging ores up a lot faster than it was before. So I guess raising it a couple blocks off the ground might have helped. Or maybe it just runs faster when it's powered by mechanical power as opposed to coal. In any event, this is good enough. I'll leave it here, run a while so I can get, one of each ore, and then I'll set up a drawer system to hold it all. Anyways, big shout out to Bullyman, the author of this pack, for explaining the process of building this thing. I think more like pictures like this go a long way, and especially because this Ember mechanic, like mechanical energy system, is pretty obscure and easy to get wrong and has very little feedback to tell you you're doing it right. Having the thorough, like, these tips in the quest book and that picture helped a bunch. So anyways, this is done now. Let's head back up to our base. And just for completeness sake, I did the last quest here, which was to make some underwater rails. I'm probably not going to use it. If I have to transport items around, I'll use ender chests. So that basically completes this quest tab. There's a couple tester might quests, which I'll do at some point, but I don't have 64 blocks of platinum to turn in. So, on that note, let's wrap up today's episode here. We've, I think, gone quite a ways to automating, our resource collection. I still have to manually move stuff between chests, so I guess that can be something we tackle next episode. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.